be fun to make a bunch of homemade baby food purees because my littlest one has just turned 7 months and she is reaching for all of the food off of people's plates and sucking the plates and all that stuff. So we're eating food for about a month now, give or take, but it'd be fun to take you along on how I make my homemade baby food purees, take you through the process and the easiest ways that I find to make the food. And then I just store it in the freezer and then I pop it out the night before and let it de-thaw, and then I have lots of selection for her for the month ahead. If you're new here, my name is Melissa. I am a mom to 2 sweet babies, one that just turned 7 months old, my daughter, and then my son who just turned 3 years old. I'm also a registered holistic nutritionist, certified nutrition practitioner, and a nurse. Here on my channel, I love all things food, wellness, homemaking, a little bit of everything. So today we will be making homemade baby food those, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let's start making those purees.
Today is an exciting day because I really love making homemade baby food purees. I did it for my son who is now 3 years old, and now here I am doing it for our daughter. And of course you can go to the store and buy the baby food purees off the shelf, but unfortunately they do have some hidden ingredients in there that I'm not overly keen with giving. But I'm going to try and make this a simple process as much as I can to try and encourage anyone out there that is a little bit afraid to make homemade baby food purees, that it is attainable and you can do it, especially if you prep a bunch ahead. I find is the way that makes it a little bit easier because it is so hard to make a baby food puree every single day. So what I find is easiest is making a bunch of it and then putting in the freezer, and then you can just simply grab out what you want the night before, let it de-thaw, and then give it to them the next day, and you have a wide range of food to give them. So today I'm making broccoli, peas, carrots, raspberries, beef, and I think that's everything. Oh, and also sweet potatoes. And I remember I was very intimidated about making these purees, especially with our son, but it actually can be quite simple if you just try not to overthink it, because there is so much information out there when it comes to feeding your baby and different ways to do it. You can do baby-led weaning, which is more like solid foods, or you can do purees or a combination of both. But I found what was really helpful was looking at a site called Solid Starts. It's an amazing website and it can give you all the information you need about starting solids, what food is best to start with, what food is higher in iron, all of those things. Because, for instance, for iron, babies start needing iron around 6 months of age. So incorporating iron-rich foods is really helpful to start with. That's why I'm really starting with the beef. But you can just find what works best for you and what works best for your family. It's really what is convenient and accessible and something that you are able to provide and be consistent with. But it's really a fun stage to start feeding your baby and exploring different foods and seeing what they do and what they don't like, and just their reactions are hilarious as well. And I'm sorry if I am jumping all over with this video because it is just simply real life. I'm kind of going about the kitchen, cooking as many foods as I possibly can in a short amount of time. So just as you see, I pretty much have spilled all of the frozen raspberries on the floor, but it is what it is. But with frozen raspberries, I do tend to buy the frozen fruits like raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, because one, it is more cost effective, and two, it is just as healthy. They do freeze the fruit at peak ripeness, so you still have it nutrient filled and nutrient dense. So don't fear the frozen foods because it can be very cost effective, especially you can get huge bags from Costco, like organic raspberries for a really good price. So that's what I opt for when it comes to frozen or fruit in general. My process when I am making homemade purees is to steam everything. So for instance, for the broccoli and for all the vegetables, I cut them and I wash it all. So I throw it into a big bowl of some water and a little bit of vinegar and baking soda that can really clean off the vegetables, and then I'll just rinse it afterwards just to make sure that the baking soda and vinegar is all rinsed off. And then I fill up a large pot, like a steamer pot, And I'll just fill it up with some water, and then I'll put the food just right on top and let it steam. Each food kind of takes its own amount of time, but give or take, it's about 8 to 10 minutes for everything to make it nice and soft and like mushy like consistency. And then for the raspberries, what I'll do is I'll just put it into a pot with a little bit of water just to soften it up. But if you're using frozen, you don't really need much water because it already kind of has some water on it. And then for the meat, I pretty much do the same thing. I'll put it in a pot with a little bit of water and I just let it cook and get really nice and soft and mushy. The meat I cook for at least 20 minutes just to really make sure it's cooked through. And then I will throw everything into a blender and blend it up. And if you need a little bit of water to make the food softer to blend, I just pour a little bit of the water from the steamer pot into the blender, and it makes it nice and blended up.
Okay, so when I freeze the baby food in those little silicone freezer molds, I just pop them out and then I'll put them in one of these Stature bags. You could just use like a plastic Ziploc bag too, but I find that these bags really seal nicely and keep the food fresh. What I'll do is I'll just take out one of the little cubes and then I will take them out the night before, and then I'll de-thaw over the night, and then I can just use it simply in the morning for her. So I find that's really helpful, and I'll just put a bunch of different ones in one, or I'll have several different bags and then label them.
Use again just to know how to prep food and everything. It's called Solid Starts, but I will link it down below. And then I use these little silicone molds to put all the food into, and then once it's frozen, I'll pop them out and put into the Stature bag or Ziploc. But I will link everything down below and how I prep some things. I'll do like a little worksheet, I think, and then that way you guys can have access to it to know how to make it super simple.
It's just raspberry, puree raspberry. You like it?
How just when you serve food differently, even though he eats it all, that it just is so much more exciting for them too. So I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video and you found it helpful. But thank you again so much for watching. I'd love if you commented down below and subscribed and joined the community over here.